What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 550. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. Having some tea and scrumpets.
Yes, we are in studio today. It's just you and I holding down the fort, and we are sipping tea today as we are going to spill the tea on many topics. We had a little bit too much fun last night, Sunday fun day. Boy, I got back to New York and hit the ground running because it was the weekend and had so much fun. I was out in the village on Saturday with a friend of mine, bar hopping, went to some piano bars like the Duplex, the Monster, lots of fun there. On Friday, we did a viewing of Drag Race, which was super fun with a little core group.
Oh, yeah.
And then yesterday, we were at the Eagle having a lot of fun over there, and
drinks and cutting up and carrying on
Yes.
and having the bestest time. So I don't regret it, but I am certainly hurting today.
Yeah,
so.
me too. But we have a show for you, so stay tuned for this. Let's start off with some hot topics, and we have to talk about a city councilman that's just outside of LA. He's a MAGA city councilman, and I'm talking about Chris Kilpatrick. Was forced to resign after being caught on camera urinating in a public outside an LA gay bar. And it's the bar that I went to, Precinct, in downtown LA just last week. He was with his boyfriend and he urinated. He was in the bar and then urinated outside where the employees enter, but the cameras caught it. Precinct, the bar, decided to put this on their Twitter account saying what not to do. And in an interesting twist of fate, I did not know this, but Jeremy Lucido, who I've had on TAGSPodcast several years ago, he does OnlyFans and so forth. He has a nice dick, too, I might say. But he also
that's what I wanted to know, right?
He's also a former Randy Blue director. But Jeremy is the general manager of Precinct.
Okay.
And sort of what went down is the MAGA city councilman, Chris Kilpatrick, went to go pee with his boyfriend, and they brought cocktails with them in the glasses outside. So Jeremy was simply running after them to say, hey, you can't obviously take cocktails out with you onto the street. And as a result, Chris Kilpatrick is claiming that he was harassed and they didn't know. He's claiming that it was self-defense because he tried to fight back.
What?
Yeah, well, he has stepped down from city council, and just to get the city right where he is, it's a smaller city, and I think it's the city Crescenta Valley Town Council, and he was a council member, Chris Kilpatrick. He tendered his resignation from the Crescenta Valley Town Council just right after this all went down. But isn't this like crazy to think that you could get away with this? And he's a proud MAGA member as well. And if you go to his Twitter profile, he says that he is 100% American. It's like, okay, glad you had to say
too.
that. Yeah, right. Thank you. What do you think of this behavior? And thank goodness they caught it on camera.
Yeah, I was thinking, who hasn't gone outside and peed in front of, all I can see is a dick, so I see it. Who hasn't gone outside and peed in public? But you do it a little bit more discreetly, because I'm looking at the picture right now.
Right.
And they're like in a foyer almost. It's
the employee entrance to Precinct, but cameras are right on that area.
It's ridiculous. It's like they're doing it practically in the open. It's almost like they're in the club doing it. So I agree that this is classless, it's baseless, and there's so many layers to it. Like, I thought you were going to stop with the peeing.
Yeah,
and
thank
then it
you.
Just went on and on and on, and it's just kept getting worse and worse. They tried to accost somebody for stopping them from taking drinks outside, that's just something that you don't do. You don't, if you're doing something that's not necessarily right and somebody catches you,
right,
and then you acquiesce, you say, okay, I apologize, and this is something that I would normally do. You go through the motions and you say, man, I got caught. Maybe next time I'll be able to sneak the drink out. But you don't do this type of thing and expect to get away with it or fight back a little bit. So he deserves what he gets. Maybe hopefully he'll be prosecuted a little bit and he can, pay a little fine and feel the pain a little bit. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I just think I love that Precinct put a video together and said what not to do because they had it. They also said we have plenty of bathrooms. I was just there a week ago and plenty of urinals that they were just in the bar. So they could have
That's weird.
peed in the bar and then ran out and left their drinks.
Yeah,
so it's just, it doesn't really add up. And now he is getting known globally for bad behavior. This was a small city council position, but now it's like you're getting known for all the wrong reasons. And it also doesn't, to the small bars are getting shut down left and right due to rents and all kinds of things. Don't disrespect the bar and get them in trouble. If a cop had stopped them with those cocktails in hand, they would say, where did you get these? And they said Precinct bar, and they would come after Precinct.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
That's why they have these hard and fast rules for stuff like that. And it's like, really? Were you going to put it in your sippy cup on the ride back to Crescenta? I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I work in a bar, and I have seen people take drinks out.
Right.
Actually, I saw this guy take an entire pitcher one time, and we were walking down the street. We were behind him. We were going home, and they had taken an entire pitcher. Right?
Oh, not a pitcher.
I didn't stop them, and I was too exhausted to even say anything. He came back the next day because he forgot something there, and I said to him, "Are you going to bring that pitcher back if we give you what you forgot?"
Oh, there you go.
He went and grabbed the pitcher from wherever he had left it, and he brought it right back to him, and then
he did the right thing. Yeah.
Back. So it's funny, but this entire situation just stinks of privilege to me.
Yeah.
So.
100%.
Yeah. So
yes. Exactly. By the way, loving your Selena.
Oh, thank
you. T-shirts. Very cool.
Somebody very cute gave this to me.
I love it. It's
Thank
very
you.
cool.
So,
always
shout out to
representing.
him.
Yes.
That's right.
Love it. Well, we were talking about sex progressive the other day, or as opposed to sex positivity. This goes in the sex progressive category when famed actress Elizabeth Hurley just made a movie, and she's been responding all week to some controversy. So in her brand new movie, Strictly Confidential, there's a couple of scenes in there that are erotic and sexual with another woman. And that part isn't the controversy. It's the fact that these scenes, one in which she's wearing a dress, her head is all the way back, and she's clearly getting eaten out by another woman.
Oh, my.
But where is the controversy? Her 21-year-old son, Damian Hurley, it's his directorial debut, and he's directing his mom, and in this scene, well, she's gone on record and saying she actually felt very comfortable because he often takes a lot of her bikini pictures, and often she feels like she's in good hands with a family member directing her. I don't really find this that awkward or strange, and I know I've said before in a past episode that I walked in years ago on my parents, but I feel like when you're a celebrity, Madonna, it has her kids all over the Celebration tour. One in which she's singing Bad Girl, and the whole song is about a girl that drank too much, smoked too many cigarettes today, and who is accompanying her is her daughter, Mercy, on the piano.
What?
And she's in a like a lingerie silk outfit. I just think when you're a celebrity and family is a little bit different and you're much more close you get that it's about performance, and it's not, it's part of the job. And so they're in entertainment. I think for a lot of us, we cringe at the fact of this, but he is an adult, and I think when you're in entertainment, you look at it more as work. And one last thing is I was watching the reunion to Beverly Hills, and they were talking about are you jealous? Kyle Richards, I can't believe I'm talking about housewives, but Kyle Richards,
part of life.
They were asking her, since she's going through a separation right now from her husband Mauricio.
Who is gorgeous.
Okay. I don't know if I agree with that, but
No?
He gives me a little cringe half the time.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know his personality, so.
he was on he was on Dancing with the Stars, and he had a really intimate dance scene or moment, and he dedicated it to his wife, but it's totally Dirty Dancing in there. And Andy Cohen asked Kyle, were you jealous of that? And she said, it made me a little uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When Erica Jane was sitting right next to her, she said, I was on the same show, Dancing with the Stars, and it's work. It's intimate, but that's the nature of the job. It's entertainment. How do you weigh in?
Yeah, I hear all of that, and I agree with you that it is work and it is entertainment. So there is that level of professionalism that goes into it.
Yeah.
However, I do think that is a touch too far and it's too close for comfort. We discussed this before about how we wouldn't want to see our parents.
I don't want to see that.
Exactly. It's just a touch too far. So I think even simulated sex would be too far for me. I mean, I even have had qualms about making sexual songs and making sexual music. Go check out Talk About It, my new single by Kodi Maurice, streaming everywhere. But I've had qualms about making sexual music because potentially my mom would hear it, my great aunt would hear it, my sister would hear it. It makes me feel uncomfortable to be a little bit sexual and have them see that side of me. I do think that there's a way to compartmentalize it, even with your family members, to kind of make everything less awkward. And I could never do this. I could never direct my mother in a sex scene. So I'm just like cringing just even thinking about it.
I think it's also, we talked about this recently about another high-profile actor, Bradley Cooper, who walks around naked and his children see him naked. And to me, nudity is a whole separate thing. This is work, and she was fully clothed, and it was simulated. But it's not like he was looking at his mom's body parts and then directing her naked. I think nudity often can make it a little bit more, that could seem really awkward. But I have grown and changed in a sex progressive way. I do OnlyFans now and have no problem telling my sister. Now, am I going to tell my mom that I do it? No. There's somebody that I am interested here in New York that I said, I have an OnlyFans. And he was like, yeah, I know.
Oh,
and he
wow.
was like, good.
He's like, I subscribe.
He doesn't subscribe.
I paid twice.
But we had a little conversation about it, and I don't think he thought it. He just liked that I was honest about it. And he didn't seem to care at all. And I thought, that's great. I just think with the attitudes like that, we have a friend of ours, a mutual friend to the show, that has shot me naked and doing things with toys. And we don't have that sexual. We haven't been intimate, but I was very comfortable. We took it very professional. We hammered out what we needed to do. I shot another scene with a friend we were on the same gymnastic team. It's a new scene coming out for tantricfitness.com. Will of tantricfitness.com. It won't be on his Tantric Fitness.
Okay.
It might be, I'm not sure. But we were friends and college buddies, different years, but I didn't have any problem shooting a scene with him and his partner, Daniel. And so I just think I've changed in many ways about my attitudes about it, especially if it's related to work.
Yeah, I totally get it. And I completely understand that line of thinking. But I'm not that evolved yet, and nor am I judging
those that
Elizabeth Hurley and whatever they're doing. Like, do you? But I know for me, I would be way too uncomfortable, and maybe that's my Catholic upbringing. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's just too far. I'm not. I couldn't even think about it.
Oh my God.
I do want to say, though, Liz Hurley and her son, they look exactly alike.
Yeah,
it's
beautiful,
crazy.
right?
They're both gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kudos to them. We'll see how the movie is. Okay, moving on to Pornhub is now being blocked in Texas. So if you try and go on the site, you'll be met with a message, as other states have. We've talked about this before. Texas is the latest state that Pornhub is blocking, and it's not really Pornhub that it's blocking. Well, technically they are. So they are implementing this message in certain states that are making, when the state says, the state is actually trying to say that we're trying to combat younger ages from going on to porn sites. But the reasoning is then you would have to provide your driver's license and put all of that information up there to prove that you are of 18 plus. And Pornhub's whole issue is, no, that's a violation, and we don't want to put our users to have to put up their information that could get leaked.
Yeah.
And that could create a whole nother. So under the law, sites in violation in Texas are subject to up to $20,000 in fines per day for penalties regarding age verification, plus a $250,000 fine if any minor happens to be on the site. So it's just the latest that we're not going to get Pornhub in many states. I know Tennessee is another state, and it's just the list keeps growing. Somebody in the comment section wrote a good comment back. They said, but guns protect. No, they said, I wish the Texas legislature would have the same energy on gun control than trying to ban porn.
Good point. Yes. I think that it's basically sexually shaming. And if this Pornhub did get hacked and we saw who all was on there and what they were looking at, I bet you 90% of the people that were making up these laws, they would be on there looking at the most crazy things. So I think it's high-handed and like they're looking down at their noses at people. And I think it's just ridiculous that they would even attempt to do this. I have been on sites before where you had to verify your age, but it was just like a facial recognition thing. I guess
Right.
I could see that I was above 18. I mean, barely though, because but I didn't find an issue with that. But if I had to insert all of my information, then I would definitely be a little bit taken aback because I would be very worried about leaks.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing when you go to security, TSA, when you're coming in from another country, and now you can just use your eyes. Half the time, you don't even show them your passport anymore. Your eyes almost can be recognized as, oh, Steven Rodriguez, this is you. And that's for security, for Homeland Security. This is our extracurricular where they're infringing on those rights. And we don't want to get to a place where your computer turns into AI and now is looking at your eyes and potentially getting other information. I mean, it's bad enough all of our information is highly, you can get it anywhere almost.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, I just think this isn't good. And yeah.
And I can imagine that like porn sites
Right.
would be, if I was looking to get somebody's information, that is where I would go because it seems like everybody is watching it. Everybody wants it to be secret. And I just think that I would go there first.
Yeah, right. Ugh, okay, we'll continue to report on that because it seems like an ongoing thing. Well, the gays are having a conversation online, on Twitter, on Reddit about TSA, speaking of TSA, agents who found their special toys, I'm talking about adult toys, and supplies in their luggage. Well, this had somebody freaking out. People travel with their bedroom aids and supplies all the time, and sometimes those private possessions become public knowledge. And the Redditor was asking this, my sex toy was up on the big screen, plain as day for everyone who walked by to see. Makes a great story, though. Somebody said, going through security, my bag gets redirected after going through the scanner. I don't think much of it until they bring it to a separate stand and bring up the scan. TSA lady points to an extremely sus-looking object, and I recognize it real fast. Turns out I left my butt plug with a metal core at the bottom of my backpack. I just muttered, oh, yep, I know what that is. Then she digs through some stuff and pulls it out. I mutter, that's the one, and she doesn't even look at me. She just says, I can take the bag and walk away. This was my returning flight home, too. So either the other airport just knew what it was or didn't think anything of it. I think this is hilarious because so many of us travel with our toys. And I've got my cleaner, my douche cleaner packed in there. Sometimes I bring poppers. I have often several leather toys with me that I bring on not really. I don't really bring dildos and things of that nature because I'm really trying to get real dick when I'm traveling. But I'm fortunate because you see how I travel, and I travel with 2 trunks practically. I think I was telling you that going to Vegas, somebody said, "Are you going on your residency in Vegas?" And I said, "No, I'm just going to LA after this." But that's how I travel. Most of my stuff is packed. Whenever I get to Puerto Vallarta, though, there is the chance that they could look through my luggage because they have this thing where you press a button and it says yes or no.
Yeah.
And it goes through a conveyor belt, your actual luggage, before you get into Puerto Vallarta. And they can open it up and see. So they could potentially see all my toys and goodies. You are choosing, you're leaving tomorrow for a while.
You know, I was going to spill.
Yeah, and you asked to leave your bag here.
Yeah, I mean, it's full of sex toys. I don't want my mom to see that. We just had this discussion. So I am leaving it here with you. Please take good care of it. You can use whatever you want.
Right.
But it is, it's just something that's very awkward. I can imagine going through the security checkpoint and having something like that in my bag and it just being recognized. And then when I went to Puerto Vallarta, when we went together,
right,
I definitely had some toys in there, and I know that they saw it, and we just kept it pushing. We don't need to recognize it. We don't need to talk about it. This is not our bonding moment right here.
Right.
So just leave it alone, okay?
This is nothing to worry about. There's nothing here. Look
Nothing
away.
to see here.
Nothing to see here. You're all good. Yeah. I mean, on a sadder note, I was going to film some content in LA, and I brought my backpack that I was traveling with, and I just decided to put in some silicone lube in there in case the guy didn't have it. Well, he had buckets of lube and everything we needed, so I didn't really need to bring my little. I have such bad luck with lube.
Yeah.
I just do. It's either I'm always out of it, I always buy the wrong one. I buy water when I wanted silicone, vice versa. Well, this, I then forgot that it was in there. I packed up my backpack to come home. I had equipment in there. I had an iPad, and wouldn't you know it, all of it, the lid opened up and lube is everywhere, soaking everything. Fortunately, my electronics did not get hit, and everything's. We're recording on microphones right now that are a little greased up and ready to go.
We might be using them for something else. After.
Yeah, I mean, our microphones do look like a nice shaft and the head and all that, but they didn't need to be that greased up. But fortunately, everything is in fine working order. But watch out, guys, when you pack your lubes, because so easy to have an accident. And you know, silicone lube. You probably noticed I spilled some a little bit on the floor where the backpack was.
I slipped over there.
I've been slipping and sliding a little bit here.
You know what's funny? I used to work at the airport, and right after 9/11, we had to check everybody's bag before they got on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
One time, we opened up a bag, and it was just like all sex toys and dildos, and all I could do was think, I hope that this is clean before I touch it.
Thank you very much. I hope you had gloves on.
I did have gloves on, but it was kind of embarrassing for the both of us. So again, I just went through it and we moved right along. So yeah, it's fine.
We should have somebody on the show to talk about the proper cleaning of toys too, because I really feel there's a proper way and not one. I don't know exactly it, but maybe we can have somebody on, because you don't want to use harsh dish soaps and that you would use to clean your, dirty dishes. So I think there's a right way and a wrong way, and keep your toys clean and sanitary and all that good stuff.
Let's do it. I want to get my toys out of the dishwasher.
Yeah, I think that's not
the way
to do it. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Okay, moving on. There is a show out there that Ben de la Creme it's her podcast, Drag Race Ben de la Creme, and on her recent podcast, along with her co-host, they had rapper Big Dipper on, and Big Dipper was talking about his hookups and said people are calling out Big Dipper after he revealed on Sloppy Seconds podcast that he sometimes gives out a false address to potential hookups so he can prejudge them and ghost them if he wants. Quote, I sometimes give people my address, but not my apartment number, so I can look out the window. Dipper told co-host Meatball and their guest, Ben de la Creme. Meatball and Ben de la Creme looked confused, asking if they ghost the person. And, what I actually do, he said, is give them the apartment number across the street. And then when I see them looking around, I'll be like, oh, I'm across the street in this unit. And then I'll come on over. Well, that didn't sit well with the host, nor did it sit well with Twitter, because people have been coming after him for these comments, saying that it's just rude and unnecessary. And if you're not interested, you're not interested. But to really kind of look down and see if you're actually, and he admitted he's also looking to see if sometimes they don't have pictures on their profile, and he wants to see if he's going to be attracted to them. Does this work for you, or is this just like wasting people's time and mean?
No, this is crazy. And if Big Dipper did this to me, I would wait outside their apartment.
Right, exactly.
That's how you get in trouble. You don't want to be doing that on these streets. It's wild. But I do think that there are ways around it, because people get catfish all the time. It's part of the culture, unfortunately. First, if you go to a profile and they don't have any pictures, that's an automatic kind of red flag for me that this could potentially be a catfish. So maybe stay away from pictures with no profiles. And number two, if you want to verify that they are who they say they are, then go to a bar, meet at a bar. You don't have to necessarily, I don't like giving people my address anyway. You're not going to be sending me no crazy gifts or anything like that, but jewelry is much appreciated, okay?
We'll give his handle at the end of the show.
Thank you, darling.
But I agree with you. I think the trend that everybody seems to be doing is maybe they wait, and let's just say you were trying to meet up with somebody tomorrow. They don't often give their address that day.
Yeah.
They give it, say, the day of. And then they don't give the apartment number right away until it's maybe you're leaving. I'm not mad at that. I don't need to know exactly where you live and go on Google Maps to see what it looks like from, an online pic. I'm fine with that. Yeah. I think that, but why waste people's time like that? I also agree with you. Sniffies has this really good thing too, where if it seems too good to be true, or they don't have a verified picture on there, a guy I was looking at the other day, it was 25, 6'3", the picture was his torso, and he looked like a Greek god. He was chiseled, and I think all he said was photos. And Sniffies has this thing on there that you can actually, they said, we haven't verified this. You may not want to, it could be spam. Yeah. And so, or a bot. And so I actually, whenever they warn me on those, I take their word for it and I move on, because if they're warning me then that this could potentially not be a real thing, that I'm taking them seriously and I'm going with that. So
was this here in your apartment that you saw this guy?
Yeah.
He had a hairy torso?
No, he was really smooth.
Okay.
I'll show you later.
Okay.
But yeah. But the body seemed like too perfect, and 25, 6'3", chiseled. Yeah. And I mean, totally in proportion. It just seemed, maybe it was. I'm like, too good to be true, I think. Yeah. That could be the cynical side of me talking, or just taking Sniffies for their warning and running with it.
Oh, definitely. I think the reason that I asked was because I feel like I ran across a profile like this. So it made me wonder if it was the same guy, because Sniffies definitely is very good about it. One time I sent my phone number out and they were like, well, you don't want to do this. Just make sure that it's who you think it is before you send out any personal information. They're on it. They don't want anybody to have any issues as far as their app is concerned. And I thank them for protecting us.
Me too. Exactly. Yeah. By the way, what's the pooling of choices as you're staying here with me for a few days? What's been the pooling versus where you're at?
Oh, it's fire over here.
Oh, really? Okay.
I am loving it very much. So thank you, darling. It's been a good 2 weeks, darling.
Absolutely. You never know, too, because you only get your pooling of people when you turn on the apps, and you just think, you see a lot of the same people, but it's always interesting to see when you go to another locale and see what's going there. And when I was in LA, in Los Feliz, the pooling of people was really good.
Yeah.
And because we're close to Silver Lake, which has a lot of LGBTQ plus people, and Los Feliz does too. LA does in general.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was refreshing. New meat.
Oh yeah, when you're the new meat in a new neighborhood, which I have been since I've been here, it's always fire. It's always my phone was lighting up left and right. So in fact, I should check it now.
Yes, you should. I think you should. Let's get into advice. We love to give sex and relationship advice on this show, and today is no different. You can always write into us and go to our website, TAGSPodcast.com, or we will give our handles at the end of the show. Okay, well, let's get into some advice here. And this is a hookup. Speaking of the parents and too close for comfort, you might want to weigh in on this one. They wrote on Reddit, hookup who lives with parents. Last night I hooked up with someone who lives with his parents. I knew that already going into it. He's my age, but moved back in with them during COVID. I don't blame him for staying with them for now because he has his own suite, 2 rooms and a private bath. But it seemed like I was back in high school. I didn't see his parents when I entered the house, but I felt the need to keep the noise level down. After our fun, and it was some good fun, I walked out of his room and heard the TV on in the living room. And as I walked down the stairs, I saw his dad on the couch. My gut reaction was to try to sneak out without him noticing, like I was past my curfew and didn't want him calling my parents, that he couldn't find out that we were doing some gay shit, laughing out loud. I think this is sort of a statement as to where we are today with. It's expensive out there, the big city, and sometimes people got to save money. And I just think you're going to run into situations like this. I mean, it would be a little bit awkward at my age, I think, to go over to somebody's house that had, a parent in there. I don't know. Even roommates would be a little bit weird for me too, I think, if they were just out there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would be. I mean, the only thing that comes close to it, I think I told this story a long time ago, when Rent Boy was around, Austin Wolf was on there, and for my birthday present, I got myself an experience with Austin Wolf. And he was in Hell's Kitchen at the time, and I walked in, the TV was on. He greeted me with a nice big smile. The TV was on, and I just thought he had it on, and we walked through, and his boyfriend was sitting on the couch watching TV and was just gave me a high.
Very hot.
Very sexy, very hot, but it was like, oh no, he knows what I'm going to do with his boyfriend. And I was worrying about the sound effects too, because I just thought, but honestly, once again, professional, business is business, and nope. We got the job done. Nobody bat an eyelash. It was all good. So
love it.
Yeah, you're about to go back home for a minute.
Yeah, just for a couple months.
Yeah,
but I would never bring anybody home to my mother's house. It would just it would be entirely too awkward. And I can't see myself going to somebody else's house if their parents live there as well.
Yeah.
I understand that he has his own 2-bedroom suite and all
ensuite, whatever. Yeah.
But potentially running into the parent is super awkward. And again, it takes you back to being an adolescent and
getting caught.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Right. There's rites of passage, and we moved on to, not that.
Not me, girl. But I have been in situations where there have been roommates or other people there. There was an experience I had not that long ago, and I went over to this guy's house, and he had his friend there. It wasn't even his roommate.
Okay.
And he asked me, do you mind if my friend just sits here and watch us have sex? And I said, no, let's go.
Oh, okay.
So he sat there and watched. I actually asked, does he want to join in? Because it was kind of hot.
Right.
So I was like, I'd be down for that. So he watched us have sex. He eventually just took his dick out and started stroking it. And it was pretty hot. He was also working too, which made it a little bit awkward. So he's on his computer, and then he was watching.
Okay,
us.
Yeah. Just don't turn on that webcam.
I know, right? Oh my gosh.
Shit. Yeah.
Can you imagine? It's probably out there somewhere. So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think us gays are very creative when it comes to that, and less shy about voyeurism, having friends watch, having sex in front of other people is not really that big of a deal. And I mean, I did have somebody over the last time you stayed with somebody that I hang out with here. And I don't really, it's a really, I don't know, like a long apartment, but it's not an official door where my bedroom is. Yeah. And so we wanted to see each other. You were on the couch, I believe, and you said maybe you heard him a little bit.
I heard a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
It was fine. I was like, okay, what can I do in order for it to be quiet enough for me to go to sleep? Because I was kind of exhausted, but I was totally fine with it. Like, who cares? I think we were talking about it before, and I've had sex in front of my friends before too. Right. Maybe not. Like, you were in the other room and I was in the living room. So I've done that plenty of times. And if you haven't had sex in front of your friends, are you even really friends?
I mean, yeah. And in my defense, we were leaving for Puerto Vallarta for the Vacaya Resort. And you were spending the night because we were going to go to the airport. Yep. I was going to be away much longer, too, because I was going to stay after with my sister. And so I wanted to see this boy. Yep. And before I left, and he was giving me a going away present.
I don't blame you at all. I would have done the same thing. And been like, cover your ears, girl.
Yeah, right. Put those earplugs in. Exactly. I must say, though, on our trip, we had a lot of sex separately. And neither one of us brought anybody to the room.
Yeah, we were very respectful. I feel like it's different because in that instance, our beds were next to each other. So yeah, I feel like
that's a little too close.
It's too close, definitely. Too close for comfort. So I would have had sex when you were not in the room. I would have definitely done that. Yeah. Like if you were out and I wanted to bring somebody back.
I went to other people's places and had sex in their room and met up with a couple and had sex with them, which was hot the last day. Yeah. And that was really hot. But yeah, the only way it would be is if it was just the way you described it a minute ago. If somebody wanted to be voyeur and watch and that kind of thing. I've done that before, and that's separate. But it's just to be in the same bed or the next door and then two people are having sex, no. Yeah. I mean, the closest I think I've done to that, and I told it years ago, was in Fire Island. And this guy was with his boyfriend, and I was really hot into the guy. The boyfriend was drunk off his mind, and he said, do you want to come back to my place? I'm like, well, what about your boyfriend? He's like, well, he's fine. But we had to literally carry him home, like one arm over one shoulder, I was propping him up on the other end. We had to walk through the boardwalk, and it was far, to get to his place. We put him down on their bed because, everyone only has like one bed and you're sharing a house. And he passed out, and we literally had sex on the bed next to his boyfriend that was passed out.
I think I saw a porn like that one time.
It was kind of like a porn, and it was hot. And I mean, I think I even got fucked on the bed too. Yes. The guy did not wake up, the boyfriend. And I was like, if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it.
That's right. This is your boyfriend. This is not my man.
Fire Island is very much Vegas. What happens in Fire Island stays there. Although now on the show, I blabbed it out. But yeah.
I would have put his ass on the couch, though. If I had to carry somebody home, I would have dropped him right on the couch.
Exactly. I like that. Okay. Let's do one more. And this one is a little interesting. My boyfriend demands a blowjob every time we fuck. My boyfriend expects a BJ every single time we shag, and am I being unreasonable for not being keen on this, especially when there's hardly any foreplay action from me? Dude wants morning head as soon as he opens his eyes and gets all pissy if I'm not up for it. Plus, he's a pretty big guy, and I feel like he should take a shower before we get it on because he kind of smells. Never dealt with something like this before, totally out of my depth, and he's sensitive as hell. He's gotten so bad that we barely fuck anymore. I think he might be dealing with some insecurities, and it takes him a bit to move past that and actually get into it. I'm at a loss for what to do. This sounds like break up.
Oh my goodness, this is wild.
The smelling part is...
That is what got me. I don't know if you heard me snort, but I snorted for
yes,
sure.
you had to take it off the mic because, yeah.
I hope you guys are not exposed to that snort because it was horrendous.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you're notorious for taking showers before you get into bed, which is a
Yes.
great... We've talked about showering a lot before and after sex. Yeah, I think if you're smelling when you wake up, that's not a good sign.
Something is not right.
Something is definitely not right.
You need to wash those sheets, baby.
And wash him out of your life. I mean, these are big deals. Also, the blowjob, let's address that.
Okay, yes, because I am in agreement with that.
What?
I was with this boyfriend that demands a blowjob. I was with him until he smelled. I was on his team, right?
Because if you smell, then you probably smell down there.
Yes,
and
you
no, I don't like some
definitely do.
funky balls at all. That we all know that smell we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We all have it. I noticed in my bathroom here you have the Manscaped.
Yup.
What is it called?
I think it's the ball refresher.
Yeah, something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's great. It's fantastic. And I've come from work and then gone out and I just spray that on and it works like a charm.
We all appreciate you.
People definitely appreciate that.
Yes.
They have been appreciating very recently.
Right.
Yeah, but I think that is demanding a blowjob. Well, not demanding sounds very harsh. So
It does.
Asking for a blowjob, I think, is part and parcel. And if you are feeling it, if somebody makes you feel that aroused to where you would like to get a blowjob, and hopefully it's being reciprocated, right?
Right.
You should take it as a compliment that somebody finds you that sexually attractive.
Right.
That's how I feel. How do you feel?
I feel like if this is what the guy is into and likes, you would have known that probably before they became boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And if you weren't really into always giving it, then this is probably not the person for you. I still can't get over the smell, though. That's a biggie and harder to fix. And how are you going to tell somebody you smell?
Say it.
Yeah.
I dated somebody where their breath, every time I would kiss them, I would be like, make sure you go do some Listerine or something with that. Because, yeah, I'm going to say it's not so fresh today right now, baby. So can you go handle that, please? And then they wouldn't handle that. And then we would continue making out. Just be as honest as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I had a friend that I keep referencing, and he was saying, oh, I was going to fuck him. And he's like, oh, baby, I'm not really... clean. I don't think I'm clean down there. And one time I listened to him, the other time I'm like, you're fine. And I took my chances. He was great.
Yeah.
It turned out there was not a problem at all. And so, but liked the warning.
Yes.
I still did what I wanted to do, but liked the warning on that.
No playing in the mud down there that day?
No, not at all. And everything was good to go. And so, yeah. But I don't think anybody should demand. I don't like that word, demand. And if you need that every single time, you need to start increasing your repertoire.
Yeah.
Because that sounds very one note. And yeah.
And then if you're going to ask for something like that, not demand, then I feel like you should make sure you are as fresh as possible. And maybe that is a conversation that the original poster should talk to with the boyfriend and say, I got you on the blowjobs.
Yeah.
But go clean them stinky balls.
Yeah. I mean, they need to take a page out of yours, either shower before bed. Because if you're showering before bed, you shouldn't be smelly, right?
That sounds like this man has this problem that he needs to shower before bed and in the morning.
Ooh, those are some big problems. I don't know if I could tell somebody that. I just think I would know early on, and then I would it would be a deal breaker.
Aw, because you can call me, I'll do it for you.
Okay.
And I say it very nicely, but I definitely say it definitively. Like, you need to do this or we can't continue.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like it. Like I said, we are always here for you. Please reach out. You can always follow my co-host. Follow him on Instagram. His personal account is at Mr. Maurice, or he's a life coach at KMD Coaching. But get his brand new single available everywhere. Talk about it. Inspired by TAGSPodcast. It's a great track. You're going to love it. And it's available everywhere, yes?
Yes, available everywhere.
Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. You can also check out my Twitter at TAGSPodcast, where you get a preview of my OnlyFans, and that is onlyfans.com/sexypoppysteve. Thank you, Kodi.
Thank you, Steve. This was so much fun.
You're off Wednesday. We've
I'm
got
off.
Teddy Alexis filling in, but we will see you next week.
I will. I'll be back here, definitely.
And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex.